Hi everyone, I'm Edgar Mendoza, and today I'm going to do the psychoanalysis assignment. I'm going to analyze the characters from Ghost Eaters by Clay Chapman. I'm going to use Freud's theory of the psych structure, id, ego, and superego. And I'm going to analyze the characters Erin, Silas, Tobias, and Amara, breaking each one into the beginning, the middle, and the end, and the final part. Um, this book is perfect to do this assignment, not only because the characters are dealing with supernatural issues, but also because they are dealing with human stuff like guilt and addiction and identity and many other stuff. So I'm going to start with Erin. Erin at the beginning of the novel functions mainly from the ego with a strong presence of superego. I mean, she tries to maintain a sense of order and responsibility. She's like understanding that whatever she's doing is maybe not so right, or maybe she thinks she has a moral posture about what they're doing, like on the uh, cemetery scene when she's aware of that what she's doing is wrong. Her thoughts are filled with concern, memory, and guilt, which shows that her moral compass is still functioning. She's not acting purely on instinct. Um, Instead, she justifies her behavior by thinking she's helping Silas, or because she thinks that she's being loyal. This shows a mind that is confused but still guided by conscience rather than pure desire, showing that from the very beginning, her psychological struggle is rooted in awareness and reflection, which connects more with the ego and superego than the id. All right, Eden at the middle, Eden at the middle of the novel is already addicted to ghosts, but she's not ruled by pleasure. She's horrified, unaware, and completely conscious of what is happening to her body and mind. Um, Even while addicted, Erin never loses awareness of what's happening to her. She's terrified because she can see herself falling, which make it worse. Her addiction is mental torture more than pleasure, actually. This level of awareness proves that even while addicted, Erin's ego is still active. She understands cause and effect. She is not lost in pleasure. She is trapped in fear and realization. She doesn't want to be here, to be there anymore. She knows that she is a victim of um, her guilty, or with Silas, or with her traumas. I mean, she knows that she's been affected by other stuff and that she's acting wrong. But at the end of the day, morally, she knows that she has to find another way to deal with everything. Okay, now Erin at the end, I would say that Erin is the only who faces the addiction and she's to end it. Even while other characters also deal with the ghost, she's the only one that mm, takes an it's the only one that takes a decision to end everything that is going on. Burning everything is her way of breaking the cycle, even if this destroys herself inside. She survives, but she's permanently changed. This is something that she says at the end also, that she physically maybe is alive, but she is not the same anymore. I mean, this is something clearly psychological, that she has some scars on her psyche that they are going to live with her. And yeah, I mean, I would say that her final mental state is quite neurotic but aware and responsible, and her superego dominates. Then, so as at the beginning, from the very beginning, the cemetery scene is very clear, um, and very clear. It show to us that Silas is morally mainly ruled by it, by the it, by his it, because he falls under the decisions taken by his emotions, taken by what he wants, taken by his desires, taken by his obsessions. I mean, he is presented as a character that is driven by impulse, and he represents the thrill seeker who drags others into danger. He also admits to his friends that if he didn't say, if he would say the truth about his plans at the cemetery, he knows that his friends wouldn't come with him. But and he didn't care that, so he lied, and this proves that he's ready to do everything it's needed to complete what he wants, and that's it, just what he wants. Then Silas at the middle is no longer exists as a normal person. He has become a force that lives through ghosts and through Tobias' body. He's Caesarean not as a person but as a vessel, something to be used for his purpose. Um, yeah, I think Silas becomes the addiction itself, controlling, manipulating, and consuming everything around. He stops being a person and becomes a force that wants more and more. His identity transforms into pure desire with no limits. He's basically no more a human. He's pure it, pure hedonism, pure hedonism. I would say. Then at the end, Silas is turning into the fungus shows who obsession roots someone from the inside out. He's obviously no longer human. He has merged with the house and the mycelium with the fungus. He refers to the infected place, the people, and the spread of ghosts as an achievement and a mission. Um, this confirms that Silas' identity has been completely replaced by obsession with spreading ghosts. No ego, no superego. There's no morality at his actions. He's not ruled by what he thinks is good. I mean, he didn't even. It's like he thinks that what he's doing is good. He just wants that. He just wants to spray the ghost. He just wants to take control of Tobias. He just wants what he wants, and he ends being destroyed by Erin, obviously. And he ends psychotic and completely harassed and destroyed, destroyed by Silas, by Erin. I mean, then Amara, at the beginning of the story, is the most grounded and mentally stable member of the group. During the cemetery scene in the prologue, she knows immediately discomforts with Silas' impulsive, reckless behavior, while the others follow Silas. Yeah, while Erin is following more because of her issues, and Tobias because he just is used to follow Silas because he admires him. Amar is more like actually thinking about what they are doing at the cemetery. Um, Amara fights the situation and keeps challenging what they're doing. Her reaction shows strong ego and superego. She sees danger clearly and never pretends this is fun. Her judgment is sharp even while high. Um, okay, now Amara at the middle. When Tobias introduces Ghosts and brings them to Shady Acres, Amara's stability begins to crack. Not because she wants the drug, but because the environment itself becomes overwhelming. She immediately senses that the house is dangerous. Her body language changes. She steps back. She's tense, uncomfortable, showing her ego trying to protect her. She is still like she still has this moral at her, and that's something that she describes clearly. Amara steps back, the walls closing in on her. She looks exhausted, spent. Her middle moment is not addiction, it's erosion. She's mentally drained, scared, and overwhelmed by the atmosphere of the house, which starts consuming her from the outside inward. Um, I would say that Amara doesn't get addicted, she gets overwhelmed. Her breakdown shows how pressure can destroy even a strong mind, even someone that has strong ideas and a clear moral. She fights it, but the house wears her down. By the end of the novel, Amara first becomes reality. She is trapped, absorbed, and ultimately destroyed by the house and the fungus. She is the representation. To me, at least, she is the representation of someone who falls under an addiction. And even when sometimes there's people who is aware of that what they're doing is not good, or that maybe they are going over the limits, they think that they can deal with it. But Amari's example that sometimes your around it could be stronger than you think that you are, and you could be ended absorbed by and consumed by these addictions. She is the representation of this, someone who just was absorbed by it. And this, I think it's pretty sad at the end because Samara has this line that says, um, it's I don't remember exactly what she says, but she's like screaming for help to Erin, and Erin just runs out when she's burning the house, and it's like that Amara didn't want that to happen, but it just was the way it happened. And even while Erin knows that Amara is not the same that it was, and she has to let her at the house and burn the house. mm, we can feel empathy for Amara for knowing that she didn't want anything of that to happen. She ain't, her final mental state is destroyed and absorbed, I would say. Now, Tobias at the beginning. From the very start, Tobias is ruled by insecurity, fear, and emotional dependency. We can see how this is the quiet character, the character that doesn't stand his opinion so much, that just follows the group, that follows the leader, that in this case was Silas, so he was just follow him. Um, after After Silas dies, Tobias becomes even more unstable. He clings to the memory of Silas, and grief makes him extremely vulnerable. His lack of self structure makes him the easiest target for possession and manipulation, and later becoming Silas' vessel. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that he's run by a fragile ego, I would say. I mean, he's not ruled by his desires, but he's not also so ruled by a moral decisions. He just has a fragile ego and an anxious super ego. At the middle of the story, Tobias loses control completely. Silas speaks to him and uses him as his body and his voice. Erin directly recognized this. I see Tobias, and I know it's Silas who's speaking. Tobias is no longer himself. He is only a container for Silas and the drug. Tobias losing his voice to Silas shows completely psychological collapse. It's like he disappears before he even dies. He becomes a vessel instead of a person. Then Tobias at the end, even Silas admit that Tobias has been nothing more than a temporary vessel. Tobias is fully absorbed into the house and the fungus. He's no longer trying to escape. When Erin burns the house, Tobias disappears with it. His identity is erased completely. And I think this is an representation of people who, because we can see at Amara people that doesn't want to, that didn't want it to be there, and we can see also that on Erin, that they don't want to be there. I mean, one of them can successfully go out of the situation, one of them doesn't. But I think Tobias is more like the representation of those persons that doesn't have a strong mindful and a strong mindset, and they just take a wrong decision, and they don't try so hard to get out of that situation, of that trouble. They just get absorbed by their addiction, and this is what happened to Tobias. He didn't even try to escape at the end. When the house is burning, his final mental state is psychotic and harassed. Now, the author's message through Ghost Eater, Clay Chapman uses supernatural horror as a metaphor for addiction, grief, and unsolved trauma. Ghost is not just a fictional drug, it represents the inability to let go of the past. Each character shows a different reaction to pain. Silas represents total surrender to addiction. Eri represents guilt and responsibility. Amara represents resistance. Tobias represents vulnerability and sub- susceptibility. The novel shows that addiction does not only destroy the users, it infects everyone around them, like a living organism, just like the novel. In the end, the greatest horror is not the ghosts, but the humans need to escape reality at the permanent scars trauma lives leaves behind. Thank you.